Let's get to, speaking of Super Bowls, Derrick Henry signs a new deal with the Baltimore Ravens. And I know, I think I saw a graphic on your Breakfast Ball show today, how Lamar Jackson's performance has improved pre-Derrick Henry's arrival to what we've seen post-Derrick Henry's arrival. I mean, is this, you guys, John Elway finally got over the hump when it came to winning Super Bowls when Terrell Davis came along. Do you think we're going to say the same thing about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson getting over the top? It was the arrival of a stud running back.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, ultimately, you look at it like people are asking me today, like, hey, 31 years old, is it smart to play a 31-year-old running back? That dude is not, he's an alien.
Yeah.
He's not from this planet. There, like that dude, I was calling a game and I was standing beside him. Like this is on Friday while I was at the practice. And he's every bit of 6'3", maybe 6'4". And he's 250 pounds, and he can outrun like 190-pound DBs. He runs away from 190-pound corners. He leaves them. Like it's unreal. Like that dude is an alien. Like he's from a different planet. And he has probably done some anal probing. That's what I'm saying right there, right? Like when you're an alien, we all know that all aliens anal probe. That's fact. It's science. So
extraterrestrial science.
Yes.
From Mark Schlereth.
So when they bring you up onto the ship, that's the first thing they do. It's like being you, it's like, it's like checking your temperature, right? Yeah. I only check my temperature rectally because I want complete and total accuracy. Yeah. So I think that's what the aliens are doing because
they're sticklers. They're sticklers
is what
for
you're accuracy saying. Because if you think
they're
about
alien.
Right. You think about the way aliens operate. First off, they've got all that technology, right? Otherwise, the UFO is just like it makes no sense. It flies like this. It goes boom, gone. To have that kind of technology, the first thing you want is accuracy. What do we know about accuracy?
Good point.
Rectal thermometers. That's it. So, boom.
Because one thing, the aliens, they're not going to cut corners.
No, they don't have the technology or build pyramids because they cut corners.
You're not going to travel millions and millions of light years,
right? If
you don't do things accurately.
And the other thing is, you're not putting a cyborg on the planet to play running back for the Ravens, right? and worry about him being 31 or 32. Right, it doesn't matter. He's an alien. Those guys, they still have aliens that they caught from Area 51 back in the 60s. They're still alive.
Still got
driving.
Them, huh?
Yeah. Have you not seen Men in Black?
Yep. Saw them, 2 or 3 of them, right?
Yeah. Come on. Keep up, people. Yeah. Keep up.
Look into the light. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Is it safe to say, because I can only think of one other person that would fit into this conversation, is it safe to say that no NFL player going into this season faces more pressure to win than Lamar Jackson? Other than maybe Josh Allen.
Josh Allen? How about, I mean, as long as we're going down this road, what about Joe Burrow?
They haven't had the kind of success of late that Baltimore and Buffalo have had. Baltimore and Buffalo, you feel like they're knocking on the door, right? They're knocking on the door. They're that close. Yeah, the Bengals were there a couple of years ago, but since then, I wouldn't put them or Joe Burrow in that category.
See,
plus Burrow has played in the Super Bowl.
Right. But here's where I would put Joe Burrow in that conversation. All right. Joe Burrow lobbied for them to sign both their wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
He got what he wanted. Their offensive coordinator came out and said, hey, we're just going to outscore people. To which I responded, well, you tried that last year. How'd that work? You didn't make the playoffs, right? And then this Trey Hendrickson stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not good. Trey Hendrickson is the sack leader over the last 2 years, led the league in sacks last year, is scheduled to make, I think, $17 million or something like that.
Yep.
Had 17 and a half sacks last year. And he's 1 year older. I believe he's 1 year older than Myles Garrett, who just got a 9-figure deal. And then your coach calls you up. Like, this is bad. This is a bad precedent, Mike. This is why that I want to be the coach and the general manager. This is why that failed miserably back in the days of, Mike Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, all these guys that wanted to have that ultimate authority to pick the groceries, and cook the meal, right? Because now all of a sudden you got Zach Taylor texting Trey Hendrickson saying, hey, if you don't show up to the mandatory camp, you're going to get fined.
Right.
And now it looks like this relationship has been severed to the point where I don't know that it's going to be fixed. Now, maybe a big chunk of money will fix it. It probably would, but it doesn't sound like they're negotiating. He said since the draft, there have been 0 negotiations. They have cut off conversations with Trey Hendrickson and Trey Hendrickson's camp. And so not only are you not paying your defensive guys and you're ignoring that, but you're saying, hey, Joe Burrow, we believe that we can just win by outscoring people, even though we proved we couldn't do it last year. So it's all on your plate. Right. Go win it for us. And if Joe Burrow doesn't do it, you know what? The fate of the organization lies on your shoulders, because it's really a 1-year deal with T. Higgins, and your coach is going to get fired. If they don't make the playoffs again this year, everybody's getting fired, right? They fired their D coordinator last year. It'll be Zach Taylor next year. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. I'm with you on Lamar. I'm with you on Josh Allen. I'm with you on those guys, but there's a ton of pressure, I think, on Joe Burrow as well.
Yeah, I guess I feel like Joe, not skates. That's not fair. When it comes to the criticism or comes to the expectations, I just think it's massive on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. You talk about MVPs, right? I mean, and at some point, you got to back up the MVPs by winning a Super Bowl. You got to prove that you can stand up to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You got to do these things. Because in the age of, all right, if Tom Brady's the established GOAT, hey, there were plenty of people, plenty of quarterbacks, plenty of teams that got their shots in and got their licks in on Brady and the Patriots during their run. Plenty of other Peyton won Super Bowls. Roethlisberger won Super Bowls. Eli won Super Bowls. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. At some point, some of these quarterbacks have to be the equivalent of those guys I just named.
Well, yeah, and Lamar got bounced by the Buffalo Bills last year, but to his credit, he drove them down. Mark Andrews drops, what was it, 2-point conversion he dropped. He also had a fumble in that game. Like Lamar, you could really be critical, and I've been critical of the way he's played in the playoffs, deservedly so, because the way he started his career, he playoff-wise, he was not very good. The last 4 games that he's played in the playoffs, his numbers have been great. And part of it is, then I put it back on John Harbaugh. I put it back on their offense coordinators for getting out of their game plan. Here's, to me, the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in football when it comes to just being physical and running the ball and doing all those things. The issue is when they get down, the recipe to beat Baltimore is saying, hey, man, we don't want to contend or deal with their run game, because it's so unique and it's so hard to defend, because Lamar is a freak show, right?
Right.
He's an absolute freak show. So if we can get up by 10, if we can get up by 14 early, it takes them out of running the ball. And remember, going back to the playoffs a couple of years ago, wasn't it against Kansas City where they had 7 attempts or just garbage offensive game plan, because they got down and they just kind of quit and gave up on it. And so some of that lack of production, I got to hold the coaching staff accountable for that.